We all know the tale of David and Goliath. Since biblical times, monumental upsets have piqued our interest, and it's been no different on the gridiron. Whether it's an up-and-coming team stunning an established power, or an underachiever beating that season's top dog, sit back and enjoy the top 10 playoff upsets in NFL history. Let's start with a matchup that's still fresh in our memories. To many, Cincinnati's journey to the AFC Championship was unfathomable 2 seasons removed from the worst record in the league. The Bengals ended a 5-year playoff drought in 2021. Cincy was on to the big bad Chiefs for a spot in Super Bowl 56.
We're 1 game away!
KC was making its 4th straight AFC Championship appearance and expected to advance to its 3rd straight Super Bowl. Through much of the first half, Goliath was beating up on David.
They toss it for the touchdown! 3 for 3 down the field.
Then came a big momentum swing.
On this first half of action at the AFC Championship, 2nd and 12. Beeline gets past Ward. Look at him go! Inside the 20, into the 10. Oh, he takes it the distance. Wow, what a jolt! Just when the Bengals needed it. 2nd and 3. Pass up in the air and stolen. It's picked off by Cincinnati. B.J. Hill with the play the Bengals really needed.
You can use your running back, you gotta get it out.
There it is to the end zone, and he comes down with it. Outrageous.
Once down 18 points, Cincinnati tied it up. After the teams traded field goals, we were headed to overtime.
This could be a sentence that a month ago would sound incomprehensible. And Cincinnati is heading to the Super Bowl. He called it again, I'm sure.
A team with plus 15,000 preseason odds to capture the Lombardi Trophy was now just a win away, but Cincinnati's Cinderella run would end in a heartbreaking loss to the Rams. Let's raise the stakes now to a Super Bowl matchup between a young superstar and an aging legend. Denver missed the playoffs in '94 and '95, then got upset in '96. They settled for a wild card spot in '97, while the Packers were on a path of destruction. Not to mention, NFC teams had won 13 consecutive Super Bowls heading into this game.
As the NFC celebrates 13 in a row, the throw to Freeman. Is he in the end zone? Touchdown!
This start was expected for the 11-point favorite, so how would Denver respond? The Broncos' defense was able to take advantage of Favre's occasional recklessness, but Denver was dealt bad news when their star running back Terrell Davis had to exit the field.
You don't worry about seeing on this play because we're going to fake it to you, the 15 lead, but if you're not in there, they won't believe we're going to run, okay?
Terrell Davis, the deep back. Play action, wide open. Elway walks it into the score.
Now up a touchdown, Denver put the pressure on Green Bay.
Blitz. Atwater makes the hit. Is it a fumble? If it is, it's Denver's ball.
But the defending champs weren't going away that easily.
Carr throwing to the end zone. Touchdown! A leaping catch by Mark Tremont.
Elway needed to engineer a big-time drive after 10 unanswered Packer points. That sets us up for one of the most iconic plays in NFL lore.
Elway scrambling, looking, running, diving inside the 5-yard line.
When you see that quarterbacks go down, not Elway.
This drive over 7 minutes as Davis touchdown.
Brett Favre is not over there saying John Elway sure would look nice with a Super Bowl ring on. He tried to win that game as well.
Touchdown! It's to Antonio Freeman.
Freeman was sensational with 126 yards and 2 TDs, but it was the Broncos' late-game heroics that stole the show.
And the Broncos, with a mile-high salute, take the lead again.
Still, Green Bay had one more chance to tie it up.
Come on. This is it.
Dedrick Dodge and Darius Johnson come in at the defensive back positions. The throw. John Mobley broken up. And the Broncos are celebrating on the near sideline.
Number 8 on our list is a forgotten classic. The NFC divisional round pitted the Vikings, 11-point underdogs, against the top-seeded 49ers. With a pair of Lombardis, Walsh and Montana had already built the team of the decade. That year, Jerry Rice set an NFL record with 22 receiving touchdowns in just 12 games, one more than Minnesota's entire team had all season. But you know the old saying, that's why they play the games. Quite the shock as Minnesota bolted out to a 20-3 lead.
Touchdown!
Both teams traded touchdowns to make the score 27-10. San Fran clawed back with 2 more scores to cut the Vikings' lead to 9 late in the 4th.
Touchdown!
But it was too little too late. Minnesota extended their lead thanks to one of the greatest performances in postseason history.
It is caught. Is it inbounds? Yes, Anthony Carter.
Anthony Carter set a then NFL postseason record with 227 receiving yards. Quarterback Wade Wilson posted a season-high 298 yards as the duo vanquished the Niners 36-24. Let's pause here to highlight some honorable mentions that didn't make the cut. The Seahawks and Saints squared off in the 2010 NFC wildcard, with beast mode punctuating this instant classic.
Oh, look at this run. What a run. Marshawn Lynch still on his feet. Has blockers now. He's dancing his way for the touchdown.
After upsetting the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Titans drew the NFL single-season record holder for team rushing yards. Baltimore's point total and differential were top 11 all-time, while Lamar Jackson became just the second-ever unanimous MVP. Yet, Tennessee, who barely made the playoffs, completely shut down Baltimore. The 1995 AFC divisional round featured a matchup between the top-seeded Chiefs and the 9-7 Colts. It was the Chiefs' 6th straight playoff appearance and the Colts' first in 8 years. Despite 4 turnovers on the day, Kansas City had one final shot to extend the game.
Is no good. Wide to the left, and look at the Colts sidelines.
Let's turn the clock back now to the 1969 season when the Chiefs and Vikings played in Super Bowl IV.
No, it wasn't an upset. We really believed we were going to win.
We didn't feel at all like we were a 13-point underdog.
Former Chiefs Len Dawson and Jim Lynch are right. The only reason the Vikings were heavily favored was because of the blatant bias towards the NFL. From the get-go, everyone could see why this Chiefs team deserved to be here.
65 toss-power trap.
Running play coming to Garrett on a trap. Touchdown! Garrett scores for the 5.
65 toss-power trap, yeah!
The deepest Minnesota got into Chiefs territory during the first half was the 39-yard line. Kansas City held a commanding lead at halftime and continued to step on the gas.
They're beating the best that the NFL has to offer out here today.
By the game's end, the Chiefs had walloped the NFL's best team 23-7.
Really is a satisfying conclusion to the 10 years of the American Football League.
In 1998, the Minnesota Vikings were the juggernaut of all juggernauts. They scored the most points ever in a season at the time, largely because of rookie wideout Randy Moss. Minnesota became the 3rd team to win 15 or more regular season games. This roster was littered with future Hall of Famers. The Falcons, on the other hand, were way ahead of their rebuild, courtesy of Dan Reeves. The Falcons ended a 2-year playoff drought, achieving a franchise record 14 wins and made their first NFC championship appearance. They had a top 10 offense and defense, yet this game was still Minnesota's to lose. However, the Dirty Birds came out swinging.
Up the middle, touchdown. Jamal Anderson out of the backfield.
Atlanta didn't care that they were 11-point underdogs, but that opening drive TD woke up the beast.
Here's Cunningham again, going deep. So touchdown, he's in the end zone. Cunningham crouches under the center. He's going straight ahead and dives into the end zone.
Randall Cunningham and Moss powered Minnesota to 20 unanswered points, and Atlanta desperately needed something positive going into halftime.
That's exactly what they needed.
The Falcons chipped away at Minnesota's lead, but the Vikings' potent offense wasn't tired yet. With under 6 minutes to go, Minnesota could ice the game, but the Vikings' record-breaking offense fell flat near the red zone. Still, settling for a field goal would almost ensure victory.
So do you think Gary Andrews will make this field goal? The answer should probably be yes.
39 yards away, and it's not good.
The miss gifted Atlanta one final shot.
of the pocket. Touchdown. End zone, touchdown.
Chandler forced overtime, a welcomed sight for the Falcons.
He's handled the pressure before. Anderson is good. He knows it. They know it. And Atlanta goes to Miami.
Oilers starting quarterback Dan Pastorini, top receiver Ken Burrow, and Hall of Famer Earl Campbell suffered injuries during Houston's 1979 wildcard victory. Pastorini and Campbell would miss the divisional matchup against the Hall of Fame-laden Chargers. QB Dan Fouts set the NFL single-season passing yards record, leading San Diego to the AFC's top seed. Nevertheless, the Chargers drew first blood.
Clarence Williams for a touchdown.
However, Bums Boys battled back.
26 yards. Blocked, and Perry could go all the way. Only Fuller to beat. Vernon Perry at the 45. He is all the way to the 30-yard line of San Diego. Oh my, what a turnabout. 3 San Diego leads. Fouts looking at 3rd and 9. Down the middle for Joyner. Intercepted. Vernon Perry laterals it off to Reinfeldt. And Reinfeldt is to the 38 of San Diego. Booby Clark is the lone setback. It's Clark sweeping and scoring.
The Oilers relied on their backup rushers for 148 of their 259 yards. For a battered and bruised team fighting for every inch, taking a 10-7 halftime lead was huge. That said, it's tough to hold an edge against these Chargers.
He is in the end zone. Touchdown!
Houston's lead vanished quickly. Trailing by 3, the Oilers' defense needed to step up again.
Now going long for Jefferson. One-handed interception by J.C. Wilson at the 50. He didn't see Floyd. Now he reverses.
The Oilers' defense held strong long enough for backup QB Gifford Nielsen to energize the offense.
Over the middle to Renfro. Breaks a tackle. 35. 30, now has some blockers.
Nielsen's key strike to Mike Renfro gave Houston a 3-point lead. The Oilers needed to hold off the high-powered Chargers offense for one last quarter to secure the upset.
Houston leads 17-14. Intercepted by the omnipresent Vernon Perry. He needs at least 30 yards on this play. 8, 7, 6, 5. It is intercepted by Vernon Perry.
Former CFLer Vernon Perry set a single-game playoff record with 4 interceptions and blocked that field goal earlier in the contest. They forced Dan Fouts into a career-high 5 interceptions and a season-low passer rating.
I said before the game we were short on manpower, but we were long on guts, and I'm damn sure right.
While the gritty Oilers prevailed, their run would end in a controversial AFC Championship game. Time for a few more upsets that were almost top 10 worthy. Though the Chargers squeaked by the Colts in their Week 10 matchup, Indy was heavily favored in the 2007 AFC Divisional. The upset-minded Bolts took advantage despite injuries to LaDainian Tomlinson and Phillip Rivers. In the 79 NFC playoffs, the Cowboys were set to play the Eagles, but top-seeded Dallas faced the Rams instead due to divisional rules. As the 2-time defending NFC champions, the Cowboys did not expect the game's outcome.
Gets it to Roddy. He's going to go for a touchdown.
Before the season started, Jets head coach Rex Ryan knew what this team was made of.
If we play at our best, we will beat every team in this league.
Playing against the heavily favored Patriots for the 3rd time that season, New York took the lead early in the second quarter and never looked back.
Sanchez to the end zone over Arrington, and touchdown, New York!
A year before the Broncos captured the number 9 upset on our list, they were on the wrong side of history in the 1996 AFC Divisional. Denver had Hall of Famers galore during the 96 campaign. Their opponent, the Jacksonville Jaguars, who squeaked into the playoffs at 9-7, and playing at Mile High against the Broncos seemed even more impossible. That said, the well-rested Broncos jumped out to a 12-0 first quarter lead, but a Tom Coughlin coach team was going to show toughness and discipline. From there on, the Jags dominated, scoring 23 points unanswered.
Now McCardell in motion. Brunell. Going long for McCardell. Touchdown!
The Jags topped 200 rushing yards, the most Denver allowed all year. Even quarterback Mark Brunell added 44 yards on 7 carries, catching the Denver defense off guard. While Brunell's legs did damage, his arm sealed the game.
Touchdown to Jimmy Smith. Can't throw it any better.
After all, the Southpaw led the NFL in passing that season with over 4,300 yards. New England ended their Cinderella run in the AFC Championship game, but it was just the start of something special in Jacksonville. Let's retell a familiar tale. A young Tom Brady replaces an injured Drew Bledsoe in 2001 and leads a surprise contender to the Super Bowl. New England, who was 5-11 the year before, had the privilege of facing a former world champ, the greatest show on turf. Led by 2 MVPs, the Rams had the 8th highest scoring season at the time, while the Patriots had just 4 Pro Bowl reserves. But despite all of this, the underdog brought the heat in the first half of Super Bowl 36.
Has to let it go, picked off. Ty Law down the sidelines, touchdown. Here's Brady back. Firing end zone, touchdown.
Coming out of halftime with a 14-3 lead, New England looked to put even more pressure on St. Louis.
Warner, picked off.
While it didn't affect their success much during the regular season, the Rams were turnover prone. They finished with a -10 differential on the year and coughed it up 3 times in this game. Sure enough, though, St. Louis was able to erase the Patriots' 14-point lead.
Touchdown Rams. A minute 37 left. Warner lost it, and Ricky Proehl is going to score.
Tied at 17 with under a minute and a half remaining, a quarterback and his team had a chance to become legends.
Here's Brady again. Up the middle, caught, and it's Troy Brown, and he gets out of bounds, and they might be in Vinatieri's range with 21 seconds left.
Unless you're a die-hard fan of one team in particular, everybody loves to see the underdog win.
Here comes one of greater importance if he makes it, and it's right down the pipe.
As 14-point underdogs, the Patriots captured the second largest postseason upset. Over the next 3 years, they would win 2 more Lombardis, becoming the first dynasty of the 21st century. From New England's all-time high to their all-time low, Super Bowl 42 is a fitting upset to highlight here. However, beforehand, the New York Giants had to defeat the NFC's top 2 seeds, starting with the Cowboys in the divisional round, a team they lost to twice in the regular season.
Intercepted! Giants!
That win set up a meeting with the Packers at Lambeau for the George Halas Trophy. As even bigger underdogs this time, surely New York couldn't pull off another upset.
Can he send the Giants to the Super Bowl? The kick? Good, and the Giants are going to the Super Bowl.
Brady's #1 ranked offense produced 50 TD passes, 23 to Randy Moss, who set a record 4 receiving TDs in a season. With the NFL MVP and 5 All-Pro selections, they eyed their 4th Lombardi Trophy in 7 years. Yet, after New England gained a 7-3 lead early in the second quarter, they began to look mortal. Brady was sacked 5 times, marking a season high. The Giants' defense kept the score to 7-3 through the third quarter. Then, receiver David Tyree emerged as a surprise hero, making his first of 2 splashes.
David Tyree!
New York still had to contain Brady in the clutch, not an easy task, as New England shaved 5 minutes off the clock, retaking the lead late in the fourth quarter. Time for Tyree to make his second splash.
Pressure from Thomas off the edge. Eli Manning stays on his feet, airs it out down the field. It is caught by Tyree. Oh my God.
Eli Manning and Tyree's efforts were enough for Plaxico Burress to seal the deal.
Manning lobs it. Burress alone. Touchdown, New York.
New York's offense converted more 3rd and 4th downs, while the defense held the Patriots' rushing attack below their average. Big Blue set a record for consecutive road wins in a season, including playoffs, and became the 3rd team to win 3 road playoff games en route to a Lombardi Trophy. Before we reveal the #1 playoff upset of all time, let's talk about the last batch of honorable mentions. The G-men of yesteryear notched a big playoff upset against the dynasty of the 80s. Kicker Matt Barr propelled them to the Super Bowl with his 5 field goals.
I'm not just a kicker, I'm a player. And the kick is good. There will be no three-peat.
Fresh off an MVP season and Super Bowl appearance the year before, Marino and Miami faced New England in the '85 AFC title game. Despite being underdogs, the Patriots were ready for the challenge.
Wide open, Weathers, touchdown.
New England would lose to the 15-1 Bears in the Super Bowl. Of course, Chicago's only loss that season was to the Dolphins. What could have been for Don Shula's squad? No surprise here, number one on our list goes to the upset of all upsets, the one made famous by superstar Joe Namath.
I think we got a heck of a shot of winning. We beat anybody in the world, and I think we're going to win next Sunday.
The guarantee heard round the world instantly became one of the most notorious sound bites in sports. Of course, it meant that much more because of the game's outcome. The Colts were 18-point favorites after finishing the regular season 13-1, avenging their only loss by dominating the Browns in the NFL Championship. While Baltimore won 2 titles in the late 50s, the Jets were making their first postseason appearance. Even Baltimore's backups were elite. QB Earl Morrall won MVP in place of the injured Johnny Unitas. Their plus 258-point differential on the year is still top 10 all time. Yet, with all the hype surrounding the Colts, Namath and the Jets couldn't care less.
The other side may have thought they were ready. They weren't ready.
New York's defense forced the MVP into 3 interceptions. The numbers speak to a broader theme, a total Jets domination.
We may be sitting in one of Bork's greatest upsets in history.
Namath engineered 3 scoring drives that resulted in field goals, but New York didn't need more than that since their defense forced 5 turnovers. Even Unitas couldn't save the Colts.
It was intercepted.
The Jets' 16-7 win marked the first AFL Super Bowl victory, but this upset transcended emotion. It helped change professional football for the better.
Got to have confidence in your team, got to have confidence in yourself, and if you don't have that confidence, you can't play football.